I'm happy that I got to take a step back from the Sunrise Shack. And I'm just like way more in line with what I want it to be. And I feel like it was getting a little bit away from how I pictured it and stuff like that. So now it's more back on track. And I realized too that it's just such a fun little business. It shouldn't stress me out like it does sometimes.
That's a clip from today's conversation with Travis Smith, who is the operating founder of the Sunrise Shack. Travis happened to be our very first guest on the podcast back on episode 2. It's great to have him back as we catch up and talk a little bit more about how COVID has impacted specifically the Sunrise Shack. And also before we dive into the conversation with Travis, I'm going to talk a little bit about what travel looks like as Hawaii begins to open up this week to trans-Pacific travel. Let's go.
Welcome to Hawaii's Best Travel Podcast, where we help you prepare for your next trip to Hawaii. Discover the experiences, businesses, and stories that make Hawaii the Aloha State. And now, your host, Bryan Murphy.
Aloha and welcome to episode 40 of Hawaii's Best. I'm Bryan Murphy, the host and owner of Hawaii's Best Travel, where we help prepare you for your next trip to Hawaii. And hopefully that is sooner than later. I feel like it was just a couple months ago, we were looking at August 1st as the opening, and obviously that was postponed. And here we are, the week of Hawaii reopening to trans-Pacific travel. And I want to give you a quick snapshot of what to expect, but I also want to direct you towards HawaiiCovid19.com. That is the state's official site where you can get the official info on what to expect and how to travel to Hawaii come October 15th. Now, there's a lot of talk happening, and I just want to direct you towards that site because you're going to get the most accurate and up-to-date info happening right now. So that's HawaiiCovid19.com, HawaiiCovid19.com. So a quick snapshot. If you listen back in August, we did a whole show about what opening is going to look like. And some of those details are the same and some of them have changed. So there still is a test, a COVID test that has to be done within 72 hours of getting on the plane. And obviously that test needs to be negative in order to not quarantine for 14 days in paradise. But the test has to be done by an approved partner of the state of Hawaii. So I just want to again draw your attention to HawaiiCovid19.com. Now, if you're planning on going to the Big Island, you still have to do the 72-hour test for COVID. But then once you get to Big Island, they also are doing a rapid antigen test that is free of charge. And just note that the main COVID test is at the traveler's expense. So you're going to want to budget for that. But on the Big Island, first you have to do the normal COVID test and get negative on that. And then once you land, they're going to do a rapid antigen test right there at the airport. That's no charge to you. So that's something that Big Island is doing. Governor Ige did give the other counties, the outer islands, permission to tweak the plan even more. And that's kind of has led to even more confusion. I don't think I can say it enough. Go to HawaiiCovid19.com to get the most up-to-date info. I'll link that in the show notes as well. So after our interview with Travis, you can go ahead and check out more about the shack and also go to HawaiiCovid19.com. One other thing just to note is that as of right now, there is no inter-island travel. Well, meaning you can't travel island to island without having to quarantine for 14 days. And so we'll see what the update is once we hit November 1st. But as of right now, doing a multi-island vacation might be pretty tricky and pretty tough. So I would just choose one island. If you're wanting to get there this month in October, choose one island and just stay there. A lot of things are open, like the beaches, hikes, but they are limited to groups of 5, most of them. So just be aware of that as you're making plans to come. So my main thing I just wanted to get across is keep dreaming about Hawaii, keep planning. And I think as you hear from my conversation with Travis, is that people are ready and are wanting to have travelers back and wanting to host travelers again. And obviously we want to do it safely. So we talk a little bit about that. Travis, as I said at the beginning of this episode, is the operating founder of the Sunrise Shack. Travis grew up on the island of Kauai. He became a professional bodyboarder, and he competed at a young age of 12 at the world famous Pipeline. And he actually went into modeling for quite a few years at the age of, he started out at the age of 16. He traveled the world and for 8 years working as a high fashion model. But Travis moved back to the islands at the age of 24 to start the Shack and is now the operating founder. The other founders of the Shack are Koa and Alex Smith and Koa Rothman, who are all phenomenal surfers in their own right. The Shack started in October of 2016, so it's pretty cool to be able to air this on their 4-year anniversary. The Smith brothers, they started with a coffee shop in a small shack on a plumeria farm, and that's on the North Shore. That's their original spot, where it's this yellow, cool-looking shack on the North Shore. And then in just 2 years, the Sunrise Shack had an opportunity to expand. They have a second location in Waikiki, which is connected to the Outrigger Hotel. And they're also looking at expanding even more across the globe and maybe even possibly on Oahu. But I'll let Travis go ahead and explain all that. So let's talk story with Travis Smith from the Sunrise Shack. All right, Travis, thanks for coming on Hawaii's Best again. It's good to see you. And how are you doing, first of all?
Yeah, everything's good. I'm actually just here in Venice Beach, California, and decided to get off of the island for a little bit. I was pretty much there for the whole pandemic, and it just feels good to see a different kind of scenery right now.
What have you been up to the last couple of weeks?
I've actually been on the road for like a month now.
Oh, okay.
Hawaii was not producing any waves, and I was stir crazy. So I just had the idea to go down to Mexico and was there for a week. And then I met my girlfriend. Her family is from Colorado. And so we flew into Colorado, and then we did like a road trip all the way to California from Colorado.
Yeah.
Then we kind of drove through Arizona and Utah. And yeah, we saw like the Delicate Arch, and we went to Zion National Park. And I haven't really experienced much of the mainland. It was really cool for me. And I feel like the pandemic has made the kind of the nature just so popular, which is kind of cool to see.
Right.
All the national parks and stuff have been going off. I mean, we did a hike in Zion. It was so crowded. There's hundreds of people. It was like a line to get into like a grocery store or something.
Crazy.
It was a park and it was a hike. So it was crazy.
Well, as you know, we live in Southern California, and when all this went down, I think it was like in June, we were like, we're done. Let's just hit the road. And we went to Zion and Arches for the first time. We also went to Canyonlands too, which was pretty amazing. When we were there, though, it was like a ghost town. So that's crazy to hear that. Glad that, because very similar to, and we'll get into how things are in North Shore, but like very similar, like people in that community, especially Zion, they rely so much on tourists and that type of traffic. And so it's good to hear that's starting to pick up there.
Yeah, for sure. I heard like we went to like Vail, Colorado as well.
Okay.
A lot of like the restaurants and stuff there were saying that it was like the busiest summer they've ever had.
Crazy.
Kind of cool, I'm stoked that some people are kind of like thriving in the pandemic.
Right. What about you guys? Maybe kind of switching to Oahu, comparing to, what you see going on in the mainland. How are things right now on island?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think since we're on an island, it's easier to kind of like make rules and govern them and have people follow them. The pandemic, when it started pretty much in March for America, it was really scary. Nobody knew what to do. It was really scary for the Sunrise Shack because we were in the middle of expanding. Like we had this amazing commissary kitchen where it seemed like the people before, they were like a noodle shop or something, that they just made all of their broths and food and stuff out of this huge kitchen. They spent over $1 million on the build out, and they just literally left. And so the landlord's like, we'll give you all this for pennies on the dollar, the whole space and everything. like, we don't really need this for like only supplying like 2 locations, but if we had like more locations, it'd be worth it. So we're like, okay, like we're going to expand and have this commissary kitchen, all this stuff. So we did that like the last quarter of 2019 and the beginning of 2020. And then the pandemic just hit and like we had this kitchen, we didn't know what to do with it. And like we were spending so much money on it. And we were like about to pull the trigger on like our 3rd location and had like kind of some money invested into that. And we pulled out. So it was pretty wild for us at the Sunrise Shack. And we just get so many people that are interested for like having another Sunrise Shack, whether it's locally in Hawaii or like internationally. So we figured like, yeah, we should definitely have more than 2. So 2020, we're going to try to make 4. That just is not the plan anymore. But we kind of pivoted and I'm actually really happy that, I'm not happy for the pandemic, but I'm happy that I got to take a step back from the Sunrise Shack. Yeah. And I'm just like way more in line with what I want it to be. And I feel like it was getting a little bit away from how I pictured it and stuff like that. So now it's more back on track. And I realized too that it's just such a fun little business. It shouldn't stress me out like it does sometimes. But yeah, we got to focus on like our e-commerce, which was really cool. We weren't doing many sales before the pandemic, but then, we grew massively, I would say, over the pandemic. And so that's been really fun. And people are just buying like our coffee online and different things like that. We're trying to figure out how to grow and strategize in that aspect. But yeah, it's been good. We're still kicking, still in business.
That's encouraging to hear. But maybe going back a little bit, thinking about March and when all that hit, and it's been a common thread that I've heard from other people as well. Maybe you have too. Like no one wanted this to happen and we wish this to happen. But I think people with the right mindset have seen opportunity in it as well. Okay, what do I need to do to get refocused and what truly matters in my life? What are some of the practices that kind of brought you to that point? And then what would you identify the Shack as like its core vision and purpose?
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like first off, before the pandemic, I was probably taking it for granted on like how good we were doing. We're killing it. We just had lions all day, every day, both of our locations, just like, and not that I wasn't happy, but I was just like thinking I needed, more locations and stuff like that. And like wasn't satisfied with the level I was at. And so now looking back at that, I'm just like, what I would do for having a line all day. Oh my gosh. So yeah, it made me more like grateful of just where I'm at. But I feel like we got to focus, like I said before, on our website and stuff, and just took a step back and realized what Sunrise Shack has to offer to kind of the community and different people that get to experience it. I feel like the Sunrise Shack is like all about like good vibes, and it's all about just like sharing like the health and wellness that's so important. And I feel like this pandemic has really been those 2 things that has kept me centered and is so positive to share. I think like a positive message and a healthy lifestyle is the right way to go. And I think like, the virus, the pandemic and everything has proven that. I think the people that have had a realization like, whoa, I should probably start exercising more so I'm not this susceptible to get, COVID, or I should start being more healthy and start sleeping more and different things like that. I think those are the people that are really prospering. And or even if it's a career path, maybe someone had a 9-to-5 job that they didn't really like, but now they're working like an online business or something, but then maybe they're being a little more independent now and stuff. So I feel like as tough as it's been and for everybody, I think it's been an awakening for the world, and I'm sure good things will come out of it. Depends who you are, but I think good things have already came out of it so far for me personally.
Right. For you, and I know maybe for a lot of people, it's been a wake-up call, talking about health specifically. What are some of your kind of non-negotiables when it comes to health? Like, what are some of those healthy habits that you've implemented, and maybe that would be helpful for somebody who is maybe just starting on this journey of a wellness path?
Yeah, for me, it's really important how like I get my day started. I'm not saying like every single day I start my day perfectly, you know? That's really important. I'll wake up and drink good water and make like a little bullet coffee. That's just what makes me feel good. I get a bunch of energy. Then maybe I'll just sit there in silence and meditate for a little bit, or do a little exercise, or sit in the sun. But yeah, starting the day the right way makes me feel good throughout the day. You know, saying some positive affirmations, saying what you're grateful for, staying away from technology in the morning, those kind of things. But then throughout the day, staying really hydrated. I have like a half a gallon hydro flask that I always have by my side. I drink 2 of those like minimum a day, so a gallon of water. And I definitely make sure I like get close to nature, even if it's just in the sun, just staying in the sun for a little bit. That kind of thing makes me feel grounded and makes me feel so good about myself. And that ties into like exercising. It's so important to exercise. And yeah, I mean, when you're eating food, just try to pay attention to how you feel after. You know, if you're feeling a little tired, it's probably food that's hindering your performance. You know, just start noticing. I mean, get in tune with your body and your mind, and you know, if something's bothering you, if it's like a little thing that's nagging you or whatever, just try to think what that would be from and how can you make it better. And you know, just get in tune with yourself. I mean, that's what I like to do. Like, I'll just be stretching, doing yoga, whatever. I'm like, ooh, like I feel like if I push that a little too much, like I could hurt myself. You know, I never get injured. Like I'll get these little things sometimes, but I surf big waves in the ocean, and I definitely like run my body pretty hard. And I just feel like, yeah, you can be in tune enough to not get injured unless there's really something extreme that happens to you. But
last time we were on Oahu, I think it was in February, we started our days at the shack, and it was like, it just fueled you, right? Like it just kind of kicked off the start of your day.
Yeah.
If no one's been to Sunrise Shack, what are some like you guys' most popular items, and what would you recommend someone's first time? Say, you know, a month from now, there's recording October 15th when hopefully Trans-Pacific travel opens up.
Yeah.
What would you recommend someone coming to the shack for the first time?
Yeah. So the Sunrise Shack, I feel like, you know, it's an organic cafe, but the 2 biggest components of the menu are like the bullet coffees. We have like 7 of those flavors. And then the other side of the menu is like the smoothie bowls. So the acai bowl is the most popular thing we serve. But then there's like the Blue Dream Bowl, which is like super amazing. I feel like depending what like you like to eat or drink, I would get like a bullet coffee or a smoothie bowl, and just kind of whatever ones sound good to you. The bullet coffee is interesting because I feel like that really helps like our brand spread word of mouth, because it's such a unique thing. We're not the only people that do it, but we definitely dive in really deep to it all. You know, we're throwing like almond butter in some of our recipes, or coconut cream, or coconut oil. Some of our recipes get pretty wild. And the reality is, it's just like pretty amazing coffee, you know?
Yeah.
Throw it in a blender, and it's between like almost like a shake, like protein shake thickness to like a latte, you know? And it's going to be like creamy, foamy, frothy. And the energy you feel is amazing. And you want to just get like the coffee, the chances of like feeling more energy are greater. For me personally, I'll only do a bullet coffee in the morning because I don't want like the fats and stuff to just store, while the sugar is the energy burner, because that's what your body does. It prioritizes like burning sugar, glucose first before fats. So I try to just in the morning, if I'm only drinking fats, then I tend to burn the fats in the morning. And I feel really good in the energy. But I mean, say it's a Saturday morning and you're on holiday, like I'll throw a smoothie bowl as well, or like an avocado toast. And I like to look at fats as like, there's good fats and there's bad fats. Like avocado is a good fat, and people put avocado on everything. So it's okay to have fats throughout the day. You want to avoid the bad fats, which tend to come from a lot of plants, which is weird, like soybean oil, canola oil, like sunflower seed oil, grapeseed oil, kind of all these like fruits and plants and different things that the oil is just not good for you. That's going to clog your arteries and, be bad for your brain and different things like that. But like other oils like krill oil or good fish oil or avocado oil, coconut oil, ghee butter, or, normal grass-fed butter. These kind of oils are actually really good for you. They kind of lubricate your brain and lubricate your joints and just make you feel really good. So yeah, I mean, that's all the bullet coffee stuff. It goes on and gets kind of scientific and stuff. But yeah, and the smoothie bowls are the most popular thing we serve. We have like 5 different smoothie bowls, and all of our toppings are super killer. Like our granola is like gluten-free, vegan, and nut-free. So it's pretty much friendly for everybody. Those are the best things we have to offer. And like when they come out, they look really pretty. So you could like take a nice photo of them or whatever it is. I've fully seen some people like, I don't know, they'll maybe be like an Instagram couple that comes by the Sunrise Shack, and like the wife like will just order like a full crazy smoothie bowl with all these toppings, and she'll just have like a full photo shoot with it, and then she'll just give it to her husband to eat. Like she doesn't even like smoothies, whatever. So it's funny. I mean, people order it just because they're so pretty, but I mean, they really taste good too. So win-win.
Yeah, and there's so much behind just how it looks, and What has been something these last 6 months, and hopefully we're getting out of this, who knows, but regardless, these last 6 months is maybe you're in a position of being able to kind of, in retrospect, look back and maybe zoom out a little bit. What has been something maybe that surprised you in regards to support and love from people who love the Shack? I know obviously not a lot of people are ordering bullets and a lot of people aren't on island right now, but like just from afar, what has been something that has surprised you as far as the love and support that people have for the Shack?
Yeah, I mean, it's just been amazing to see kind of, we're just like this little shack out of Hawaii. And I think we are quite famous these days, like even today I was just walking in Erewhon in a grocery store over here in California, and I was wearing a Sunrise Shack shirt, and someone behind me was like, "Oh, I love that place." So it's pretty crazy how much we've grown, and that's been really amazing to see. And we would like to keep growing. I think Hawaii has been a great market for us, but I think there's other markets in the world, whether it's like the East Coast or the West Coast, that like Australia, that we would really thrive in. It's just been really cool to know that like times are tough for sure. Yeah. People maybe can't get to us. Yeah, they can maybe support us online a little bit, but it's nice to know that people haven't forgotten about us. And, we're just a small business and owned by 4 surfers. And yeah, I mean, we continue to grow, and we're excited to stay where we are. And, we, at some points throughout this whole pandemic, I almost just thought we were just not going to make it even,
Right.
Or have to close a location down or something. But we never shut down one day. We were really loyal to our main employees. Like we never gave them a pay cut. We never fired any of the main people that, like our managers and, general managers and stuff like that. So we just wanted to be there for them. And I wasn't trying to pocket a bunch of cash or anything during this time. I was just like, all the capital for Sunrise Shack is on the line, and we're just going to do whatever it takes to make it through these times. And I personally believe like after this pandemic rolls over, that concepts like ourselves will probably be prospering. I think people that weren't into health before, hopefully will be now. And that's kind of right down our alley,
Hey, just want to pop in real quick. Hope you're enjoying my conversation with Travis. During this time of wanting to travel again and doing staycations, I found the perfect travel backpack. I've become this collector of travel backpacks for some reason. And I found one that I have fallen in love with. And for me, the search is over. It's more than a travel backpack because you can get any travel backpack and it protects, your laptop, your important stuff and all that. But this one also, you can pack for 3 days. So it serves as kind of like this cool travel backpack carry-on thing, but it's not too bulky or anything like that because it has this expander. But what I love most about this backpack is its durability and options. This thing is built so comfortably, but also like a tank. I don't know how to describe it other than it just feels right. It's from Nomadic, and at the time of this recording, they have this really great sale going on. So if you're listening to this right now and it's, October 14th, head on over to hawaiisbesttravel.com/nomadic and you can check out all the sales that they got going on right now. For me, I have what's called the travel pack on their site, but there's so many options, so many different types of bags, cases for your cameras, luggage, accessories. Head on over to hawaiisbesttravel.com/nomadic. All right, now back to my conversation with Travis. Pivoting to October, maybe towards even the end of the year, and hopefully once, that winter swell comes, you guys will be hopping in long lines and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what do you think things are going to be like once visitors come back? What do you think that first initial wave is going to look like?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think Hawaii has been super conservative throughout this whole pandemic,
Right.
And I think it's a little wild that it's so crazy that we are an island and we are restricted. And I think you can the government restrictions more in your face because we're just on a little island. Where do you go?
Right.
They closed down the beaches just recently, and then they're just giving $5,000 tickets out. I saw a photo of at this Ala Beach Park. There's hardly even a beach, and there's an older lady sitting in a wheelchair, and they just wrote her a $5,000 ticket. She was just sitting under the tree by herself. It's just so I don't know. I feel like it's been interesting because I've been over here on the mainland for the last month, and I was in Arizona, which is very just, I don't know. It feels like they're just I did not care about the pandemic. I didn't see. I went into a restaurant. Our waiter wasn't wearing a mask. So I think the powers and the people. It's just going to be really interesting to just see how the people react. But I mean, as far as the government of Hawaii goes, they're super conservative, and it's been interesting. I mean, I just feel before the pandemic, I'd trust things out here on the news and all this stuff. But now I'm just with all my trust with the media and stuff has gone out the window. I'll trust a meme on Instagram more than one of the major broadcasting networks, and yeah, I just feel like I've personally just been lied to throughout this pandemic so much, and maybe I wouldn't care so much if I was just didn't have a business or something, but I'm just I'm looking after myself, my family, my partners, and all the people.
All those people. Yeah.
I'm just trying to make the best decision, and it's just really been hard for me and confusing for me to be even if I didn't hear anything from the news or the media or whatever, I've always known that viruses die in the sunlight. They don't like warm weather. Salt water and stuff definitely is not easy for anything to live. Mm-hmm. So the environment in Hawaii is I think it's hard to catch something like COVID. And yeah, I mean, all for all the precautions and stuff, but nobody's talking about how ginger can boost your immune system. Mm-hmm. Simple things, exercise can boost your immune system.
Yeah.
So I don't know. After hearing all this stuff, people say this, people say that.
Right.
I just feel like this pandemic is just there's definitely something else going on. I don't know what it is. I mean, it was funny. I was just so fed up at some point. I was I just need a break from society. I just hiked into the jungle and stayed out there for a week by myself, and there's phone service or anything. It's been really confusing, to be honest, but it's interesting.
It is. And shoot, there's a lot to kind of even unpack there, and who knows what it all is and what it all means. But I think kind of going back to our own core beliefs and our own mindset and our own health at the core of it all is what truly matters. Mm-hmm. And taking care of those around you. And I think, at least for me and my family, that's something that's been, huge. And there's no one else that you can rely on other than those that you love and your own self.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think that throughout this pandemic, it's taught me that like a simple life is just a really nice life,
Right.
Like if you, for me personally, if I'm eating healthy, business is running and supporting people, and we're spreading awareness in the way we would like to, like sharing health and wellness and a positive vibe.
Yeah.
And we get some waves sometimes. I'm pretty happy,
Is that, not to sound trite or anything like that, but is that how you would define success for you?
Yeah. I think, my goal for myself is to like buy a nice piece of land and start a farm and have a family there. And I feel like that would be my success, personal success.
Would you see yourself back on Kauai or?
Yeah, I'd see myself on Kauai. I already know like the piece of land that I want. Like millions of dollars, but I just like have it in my mind every day pretty much. Like I'll get there somehow. I don't know how.
Do you see the shack going outer islands?
I don't know. It's a good question. I feel like we're like focused on the mainland before outer islands. It's just
I told you, man. I'll do Southern California. Let's do it.
Yeah, we're actually working on a little franchise, all the paperwork and stuff. It's
really,
it's that's so cool. In depth. It's like so much information. It's crazy, but we're almost done. And in 2021, we're going to start looking for franchise partners in California and then in Florida. That's
awesome.
2 states we're going to work on.
Great.
Yeah. I feel like that was like a huge pivotal moment for us because it's so expensive as a business to just open one location year after year. It's like hundreds of thousands of dollars per location. And like, I don't know, as a company, I don't want to just be like, $1 million in debt for opening up 5 locations. I think it would be easier for the business to have that trust in operating partners elsewhere. Like, I think anything on Oahu we definitely have covered. I have such an amazing team that works for the Sunrise Shack, but that team can really help people, wherever they want to start a Sunrise Shack. And we get so many people reaching out, and I just really feel like Hawaii is not even the best market for the Sunrise Shack. I feel like California and like Florida and like Australia and different places like that are like probably the best. So yeah, we're just working on that kind of growth, and just go with the flow.
I love that you're still dreaming. I love that.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if we'll just have 2 Sunrise Shacks or if we'll have 1,000. I don't know. Yeah. I'm definitely working at like making more than we currently have.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Something I love to ask everyone who comes on the podcast is if someone's traveling to Hawaii, let's say for the first time, and let's say they're going to Oahu, what is something that you'd want them to know prior to getting off the plane?
Yeah. Oahu is like the capital of Hawaii. It's like, can't compare it to any other island. There's the most like opportunities in Hawaii, like career wise and different things like that on Oahu. And then pretty much like the South Shore is like the city where Honolulu is, Waikiki. I feel like it depends who you are as a person. But that's pretty epic to like stay in a hotel, like a nice resort there, like go surf in Waikiki, like go shopping or eat at really nice restaurants. But then I live on the North Shore of Oahu, and North Shore of Oahu is like one of the most famous places in the world for surfing. And it's funny. My brothers and I are such surfers that I will have never even done like this popular hike before or something else that has nothing to do with surfing because I just feel like I'm so focused on surfing. But yeah, you have to definitely see Pipeline. It's like the world's most famous wave. It's just right there. It's only a mile away from the Sunrise Shack. You have to see that. And there's just so many good hikes in Hawaii, and depends on the season, but the snorkeling is really amazing. There's even like a shark diving tour you can do out of Haleiwa. I just did that like a month ago, and it's always so cool to swim with sharks and see how, you know, they're not actually like such bad creatures.
Right. Yeah.
They're like dogs of the ocean, and they're just swimming around, checking you out. Like they're so smart, and they're not trying to eat you, you know, like the Oz movie would suggest and stuff. I mean, Hawaii is just super amazing, and definitely just like look after yourself. And, you know, a lot of people die in Hawaii just by getting washed away by a big wave and stuff. I mean, 100 people a year. So just be really cautious about that. Like ask the lifeguard at the beach where it's safe and where the currents are and different things like that. And then just Hawaii is like so amazing. And the reason why it's so beautiful is because we're so far away from pollution. But you just got to really like pack your trash, look after yourself in that way, even down to the sunscreen you use, you know, the normal sunscreen that you buy in a grocery store. Chances are just one drop of that sunscreen can kill up to like hundreds of feet of reef. So you got to be mindful on that part as well. And yeah, just like come to Hawaii and really appreciate the beauty and stuff, but like don't, you know, leave your trail behind of pollution.
Well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a marine biologist on about a month ago. We talked through just the life of the coral reef and all that, and how even reef safe has now become even like this term that people will just put on their products, not knowing exactly how it's going to affect the reef.
Yeah.
So it's important to always just
marketing
fact check, right?
I know.
So how can people continue to learn what's going on with Sunrise Shack, support you guys, and get online?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're the most popping on Instagram, Sunrise Shack. We're always posting fun stuff. My brothers and I have a YouTube channel. It's called Smith Brothers Hawaii. You just type in Smith Brothers and you'll probably find it. If you subscribe to that, we're always posting fun stuff. And then our website, we are kind of turning it into an e-commerce website because we found over the pandemic, there's a lot of people that wanted to buy like our coffee and some of our merchandise. We have some really fun mugs and stuff that have like positive affirmations on that. So those are all kind of the ways you can support. We're working on like a third location right now on Oahu. And we can't really say where it is, but it should be open before the end of the year. And it's going to be exciting to do that. I know. I mean, it's hard when, it's like if you're like in the stock market or something, it's like when everybody else is scared and selling and you're the one that's buying, like you're probably the opportunist, you know?
Absolutely. That's just smart.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're doing right now. We kind of just had a friend that he's like, you know, I'm not going to make it through COVID and the pandemic, and I'm just going to shut my business down. Like, would you guys want to just buy everything from me? So that was pretty much the situation. And we don't really know when things are going to open back up. I mean, if Hawaii is shut down for a whole year from now, then I don't think not even one small business will be in business still. So I'm feeling like that's not going to happen because I don't think the state of Hawaii will allow that to happen. But yeah, you just never know. I mean, a virus never goes away. And I don't think just the vaccine or something is going to just cure it all. I think it'll be around and we'll have to live with it. I just recommend to people to probably start getting healthier, start exercising. And that's the best vaccine, I would say.
Yeah. Travis, thank you so much for coming on today. And definitely for me personally, man, like you're a huge encouragement to, you know, because like these past 6 months for me has been, you mentioned like quitting that 9 to 5. Like I quit that 9 to 5 at the beginning of all this. And it's been this hustle and this grind that I know I had in me, but it wasn't until this pandemic like kind of kicked my butt to like, okay, it's on me to do this. And, you know, unfortunately, I let my health the last, 6 months, like I had all the things in place and that's gone. So for me personally, this conversation has been just kind of I got to come back to what truly matters. And if I don't have my health and if that's not a priority, then all the other things that I say that I love and care about are going to be affected by that. So just thank you for that, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
I can't wait to get back on the island and actually be able to say what's up in person.
Definitely. Yeah. I can't wait to meet you in person. It's going to be cool. And yeah, I mean, who knows when Hawaii will open back up, like officially. But as of right now, you can, October 15th, you can come in if you have a negative COVID test. Yeah. And you can come see Hawaii and support the small businesses of Hawaii. And I don't know. Yeah. It's crazy how all of Hawaii just depends on tourism. I mean,
right.
The locals are awesome, but they can't even support all the small businesses by themselves, It'd be nice to have some tourists back.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you and thank you for your time.
No worries. Thanks, Bryan.
I just want to say a big thank you again to Travis for coming on the show, for his time and for his hospitality, for him just keeping vision, going strong. You can totally feel it and sense it in that conversation, his love and his care for the people that he leads and the love and the care of the mission and vision of the Sunrise Shack. So to get all the links and all the things that we talked about in the episode, the simplest way to do that is to go to hawaiisbesttravel.com/episode 40. You can also check out the Shack at sunriseshackhawaii.com, and you can check out their online store, where their locations are at, and learn more about who they are and what they're up to, and look at their menu, because their menu is amazing. And if you found value in today's conversation, you enjoyed it, I would love to hear from you. You can drop a review below wherever you're listening to this right now. Hit subscribe, leave a rating. That really helps other people who love Hawaii, just like you, find this podcast. So I just want to say thank you so much for your time, your valuable time, and keep dreaming of Hawaii. We're getting through this. I'm an optimistic, obviously, but I just care so much about Hawaii and so much about its people. And I want you and I want everybody else to just enjoy the love that is aloha. So until next time, guys, be well. Aloha.
Thanks for listening to Hawaii's Best Travel Podcast. To stay up to date on future episodes, be sure to subscribe. For more information to help you plan your next trip to Hawaii, visit hawaiisbesttravel.com.